Like carrier pigeon smacking you in the face. Hashtag wow. This is Drop Your Buffs. Welcome. It's the 23rd of March 2017 and we're discussing Survivor Game Changers. With me tonight as usual, Craig. How's it going?
Mind blown, Stu.
Blown.
Mind absolutely blown.
It was a pretty great episode, wasn't it?
That was a cracker. I really enjoyed that one. I don't really know what happened, but it was good fun nonetheless.
I think it was the first episode that really lived up to the Game Changer moniker, didn't it? So that was
extraordinary. That was just extraordinary. We'll get to that, but wow, that was truly something. Just
before we get to that, Craig, have you heard about Survivor New Zealand?
No, I have not heard about Survivor New Zealand.
No,
they're filming one.
Yes, there is. Well, no, they have actually filmed it already. It was filmed halfway through last year.
Right. Where? Fiji?
No, it wasn't actually. It was filmed in Nicaragua, Central America.
Yeah, where American Survivor has had a series or two.
Yes, that's right. It's hosted by Matt Chisholm, who's a TVNZ reporter. So he's someone that's not really well known to us, but I gather that he's a well-known personality over in New Zealand.
I'm resisting the temptation to do a bad New Zealand accent here.
I feel free to just jump in any time.
I'm not doing it.
The host Matt Chisholm he missed the birth of his first son because he was over in Nicaragua filming. So
that's commitment.
No, that's right. They've been very coy about leaking or releasing any information about this season at all. So there wasn't that much around, but Matt had posted photos of tarantulas and scorpions filmed while on location.
Right.
Now, he said that he was away for 47 days, which I thought was interesting because that would tie into a more normal US length of about 39 days plus a bit of, like a few days either side. So it sounds like that the Kiwis are going a bit soft on the whole sort of survival length.
Or just doing normal stuff.
Exactly.
Like 39 days. I think that's what works best for me, I think. Oh, there you go. Is it showing already?
No, it's coming out sometime this year, but they haven't even said when it's coming out this year.
Oh, way to go, Kiwis. Series of Survivor. Brilliant.
Well, they had 8,000 entries, apparently, which for a...
for their 4 million people
for their population is a much bigger percentage than what we had for Australian Survivor. And as you mentioned, US Survivor had 2 seasons in Nicaragua. And for me, when I think about those seasons, the thing that sticks in mind was the horror challenge that they had that still gives me nightmares to this day. And I'm not talking about the food challenge, and I'm not talking about the challenge where they have to rip off meat off a dead carcass or anything like that. You don't mean
the one where the tide was coming in? Is that the one you're talking about? Where they had to breathe through the tube? Because that was pretty bad.
It was. No, this one's called the spin cycle.
Oh, where they were strapped onto the big wheel and they're being dunked and taking mouthfuls of water. And that's just horrible.
Where three members of each tribe are strapped to a large wheel.
Oh.
The other 3 tribe members spin the wheel and then cause the one strap to be dunked headfirst into water. And while underwater, they took water in their mouth, which they then have to spit into a tube.
Yeah, no. No. You deserve $1 million if you've been through something like that. That would be horrible.
Exactly. And they ran that challenge back to back for those 2 Nicaragua seasons. So I don't know if the New Zealand survivors will
good luck with that, Kiwis.
Hey,
that'll be interesting to watch if it makes it onto TV here.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether they would show that here or not. It's hard to know, and which network would pick it up as well, because
if the host is from TV New Zealand, it's probably that network.
But what does that correspond to here in Australia? TV New Zealand?
No idea.
Nothing. No. Well, yeah, because I'm not sure whether Channel 10 would want it, because whether they might feel it's just too much Survivor for them to have on
too much
channel,
Survivor. There's no such thing.
But So anyway.
Good luck, Kiwis, with that one.
Something coming up.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, should we talk about this episode?
Yes, we should talk about this episode. 17 left.
17 left.
And we begin on night 9.
Yes, well, it was straight after the Tribal Council, and Ty was talking about how the reason for his decision, because he basically betrayed Caleb, was that he's now playing with his head.
Yes. Look, I've had a week to think about this, and look, he justified that by saying to his tribe members it's about earning their trust, but I think there's other ways of doing that, and I still think, a week after I saw it, I still think it was too early to take out Caleb in the way he did.
It was, but it seemed like the rest of his tribe were pretty well decided on what they wanted to do, so it's probably irrelevant.
Perhaps it would have made no difference.
Yeah.
But I mean, you said last week that this is possibly dangerous for Ty, that he's flipping the way he did. But anyway, look, he said it was hard, and then shortly after we saw that, we saw Hayley and Debbie on the beach saying that Ty's a liability and he's probably the next one they should get.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. But
then there's a twist on that as well, because Debbie said, well, I'm actually telling Hayley what she wants to hear. And the best thing to do is to keep Nuku together, and it's too soon to get rid of Ty. So there's all sorts of different strategies being played there.
Yeah, well, she was saying very forcefully to the camera, Hayley, you have no options. You have none.
Yeah, you have none.
And then we get straight into a reward challenge very quickly, which is good to see.
Yes, we did.
There was quite a bit of action in this episode.
There was, but only 2 players from each tribe participating.
Yeah, well, when all the tribes came out, the other 2 tribes seemed clearly surprised that Caleb was gone. Yeah. I mean, I guess the tribes often sort of seem surprised, but I think that they were slightly more surprised just because he was a strong competitor, and they probably weren't expecting him to be voted out.
Not at this point, no, that's right. So it was all guys in this one.
Well, the fact that they only had 2 from each tribe, I was thinking, was that a ploy by the producers or Jeff, whoever pulls the strings here, to really bring it home that they can't just go about voting out all the strongest players willy-nilly, because this was a challenge that was designed around the strongest players, and a tribe that had voted out their strong players.
So I wouldn't say strongest in the sense of physical strength, but certainly those with best balance, best throwing ability, that sort of stuff. It wasn't something that required a huge amount of strength or swimming endurance or running endurance or anything like that. It was more about balance and finesse and aim and sort of hand-eye coordination, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it was interesting how all the main strong players were the ones who participated in the challenge.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I don't think that we've had a challenge like this before where they've only singled out a couple of people to really participate in the challenge.
It's hard to think of something where they've done that, isn't it?
I mean, like they always sort of split them so that half of the tribe might do the first half and the other half do the second half of a challenge, but not quite like this, I don't think. So that was quite different. So I think that was the first of the sort of game-changing moments that we had today.
First of many.
One of many.
Right. That's right. So look, we go through the results of that one. So in the end, thanks to JT did a great job getting through the initial part of the course and getting over the balance beams and all that sort of stuff. But Malcolm was sensational with his throwing to win. He had a good head start from JT.
Yep,
great aim there and took it out. Culpepper came from nowhere after Ty was dead last for most of it.
He was amazing
and just incredible throwing and aiming ability going on there. So that got them up into second place. So Nuku with JT and Malcolm, they got first. They got the big thing of coffee. Culpepper and Ty got the iced coffee, a much smaller tin of iced coffee for their tribe, for Mana. And Aussie and Troyzan couldn't bring it home. And Siri from Tavua said Troyzan was terrible and his life is hanging on a string.
Yeah, no, Culpepper was just amazing. But I mean, he is a previous football player.
Correct. Yeah, and you said he was.
Yeah, and it was that
set up for him, wasn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. So.
But even though they lost, Aussie wasn't overly upset about it. He was out there doing his amazing swimming thing and catching stuff.
He was
catching seafood. And did you notice, as a nice touch, that the stingray he caught matched the tribe colours of Tavua? Did you notice that? It was a nice green and blue colour.
Yeah.
Nice bit of symmetry there. He's amazing, isn't he? What he can
do. Did you like his pigtails?
Not so much.
No.
Not so much. A lot of effort obviously went into it, but I guess they've got time in their hands, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But no, he's just incredible how he can get out there and do that and swim about and kill something as big as that and bring it back to shore. And
he's always keen to prove his worth and try and stay in a day longer, isn't he? So.
Anyone else would be tired, but I think I might go back out, he says, and he goes back out and tries to catch some more fish. He's incredible. But yeah, I agree with what he says. He's right. as long as you're doing that for your tribe and keeping them fed and healthy and happy, you don't have a target on your back.
No, and also as he was saying, for him, it's like a bit of it's like a circuit breaker or a detox from all of the
Exactly.
strategizing going back on at camp.
Exactly.
And I know from what other survivors have said over the years that it's such an intense environment that sometimes you just have to remove yourself away from it just to reset your head a bit.
And that's his thing. He probably does that in his normal life anyway. So he just goes off and does that, and he's by himself and having a great old time. But at the same time, doing amazing things for his tribe. So.
But while he's doing that, he's not looking for idols, though, is he? And that's
true.
The problem. So
That's true.
Because you won't find any idols probably out in the ocean like that, I don't think.
Well, that's not a bad twist, though. That's not a bad game-changing twist to actually put one underwater somewhere.
It would be good, actually, but it'd make it very limited, though, because hardly anyone could actually ever get it or find it. But I don't think they've really had any sort of underwater.
I can't think of an underwater idol, but that would be awesome.
It would be.
There you go, Jeff Probst. If you're listening, that'd be great. We like that idea.
Like a sunken treasure sort of.
Yeah, well,
idol.
consistent with the set that we've got with all these sunken ships and things everywhere. That'd
That's
be awesome.
right.
Well, yeah, they could put it in some sort of chest, couldn't they? Just drop a chest out there somewhere.
Yeah.
And, just leave it there, and eventually someone might find it.
Yeah, that's
That'd
right.
be cool. Anyway,
well, over at Blue Nuku,
drinking a coffee.
Yeah, and they're all getting a bit of extra zip from their coffee because
they were buzzing a bit, weren't they?
Well, it actually makes sense because they wouldn't have had any caffeine for days and days, and so even that smallest bit of caffeine now would just have
it's probably been a few weeks. I think we're up to about day 10 now, aren't we? So it's a week and a half.
Yeah.
They haven't had a cup of coffee in that time, so it'd blow your head off.
Yeah. So yeah. And that's when we first hear about Malcolm and JT talking about wanting Sandra out.
Yeah, they did mention that, didn't they? Sandra had been quite cocky about the fact that she thought she was the queen and running the show, and
she's so confident.
But then
I don't know, but you think that she acts more like that when she's talking to the camera, but she seems to act like that just around the tribe as well.
I think that's how she is.
Yeah.
I think she's just very, very in your face like that, and plays the game hard. That's what she's doing.
I don't know whether the reason why she stays around and why she's won twice before is that people just, they just want to take her to the end because they think that no one really likes her. And then she still ends up winning at the end because I think that she can make a good case for herself when it comes to it in the final 2 or 3.
Yeah, she can make the case that she's playing a good strategic game, and she does.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, interesting. So at this point in the show, and as we will get to, it's not how it is going to pan out, but I wondered whether we were seeing the beginning of JT and Malcolm, forming a bit of a strong alliance here in the same way that JT and Stephen Fishback did in their series way back when, which was instrumental in JT and Fishback and then getting to the final 2 and JT winning. I just wonder whether that was the beginning of something similar, whether it was a similar sort of game, and maybe that is the way that that JT was thinking. I don't know. We'll never know, but it did look that way to me.
I think so. I think so. I mean, like it's obviously worked for him in the past, so he's trying it again.
Right. So off we went to immunity challenge. Yes. And what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, just that Jeff says, and by the way, both of the losing tribes will be going to tribal council.
But I love the way he left that till just threw it in at the end. So he went through the challenge and worked out he talked about who they all strategized and worked out who was going to sit out. Oh, by the way, I've got something to tell you. Only one tribe's getting immunity here. The other 2 are going to tribal council. So off they went.
Yeah, this was the one where they direct blind teammates to find these towers that had the bags, with the water and the paint and all that sort of stuff. And it's these challenges are always a bit hard to watch because people always get smacked in the face and trip over and
walk into some sort of pole at an awkward height and do damage to themselves. No, I didn't see too much of that going on.
No, it wasn't.
Ty
as
copped
bad
one
as
on the
previous
side,
ones.
I think. But yeah, we've had some shockers in the past where people have banged heads and done all sorts of stuff. But
it's also a bit hard to watch because the people that are shouting orders, they're going hoarse.
Yeah.
They're just shouting like nothing else.
It's just a lot of noise in this challenge, and it's quite often quite hard to follow what's going on. But and so Debbie actually said herself during that problem she could not hear Culpepper at one stage. I cannot hear a thing he's saying. She said at one stage. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
And we had a bit of a we didn't have a drop your buffs moment in this, but we did have a take off your buffs moment. Did you hear that one?
Yeah, slight variation, wasn't it?
Yeah, I liked it. Nice one, Jeff. So anyway, in the end, Tavua won that one. Thanks to a great performance at the end on the maze and rocking the balls into that twisty movable maze thing.
Yeah, well, it's like a tilting table maze, isn't it?
Yeah, very close to the end. I mean, Jeff almost had it over there, and I can't remember what tribe he's on now, but he just at the last minute.
Well, he's on the Blue Nuku tribe,
He's
and
Nuku, yeah.
he did fantastically as the shouter for his tribe, and he led them off to a massive lead, and
he was almost there with getting the third ball on the slot, and just overcompensated, and off it went, and which opened the door for Andrea on Tavua to nail the third one.
That's right. That's all it took, and then at that time, Jeff.
Oh, by the way,
drops another clanger.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know how you're going to tribal council together. You're only voting off one.
That's right.
Everyone looks shocked and amazed, and
now this is a game changer.
This is a true game changer, and as we saw, stuff happened next that we've never seen before. So that was pretty interesting, and I was certainly at that point thinking, "Gosh, how's this going to go? Well, what strategy would you employ here?" And obviously they talked through every combination and permutation of what they could possibly do, probably for the rest of the afternoon on both beaches.
Well, I've had tribal councils before where they've had two tribes going to council, but they've had them as consecutive.
Yeah, consecutive, and sometimes the other tribe got to watch the other one, and so on. So there's been a bit of that over the years, but I can't remember one where they brought the two together to vote one person out. I don't recall that happening.
No.
Yeah, no. Amazing.
That was good. Well. Part of the sting with this one was that the Blue Nuku tribe has 6 people compared to 5 on the other tribe. So straight away, right. if everyone just sticks to their own current tribal alliance and they all vote together, then it should be the Blue tribe winning. Should be.
Yeah, in theory, absolutely right.
Yeah. So this is Malcolm and JT's tribe.
Well, this is where we heard Sandra say for the first time that they should vote out Sierra. JT mentioned Ty. But then later on, we had JT and Malcolm talking about, and I like the way they went about this. They were thinking, all right, if you were Culpepper, who would you vote for? And I think they said they thought it was Sandra, didn't they?
Yeah,
very
that's right.
quietly to each other, and said it would be Sandra. So I like the way they were thinking that way. Just they were really giving it a lot of thought. Meanwhile, over on Mana, Debbie says take out Sandra. Hayley's ecstatic because she's suddenly
off
the hook, basically, exactly. Yeah. She was on the bottom before, and all of a sudden, this amazing thing's happened.
Well, the name of this episode is called The Tables Have Turned, so it certainly was.
They certainly did. We heard Culpepper saying things like that he thought JT would go for Sandra, and then they also really it's JT who's going to determine this. And which funnily he did to some extent, but not the way that they thought.
No. Well, just going back to Sandra when she said that she wanted to vote Sierra, and her justification was that she was the strongest female player on the Mana tribe. And okay, that's probably true, but why was she going for the strongest female particularly? Why wasn't she going for the strongest male player? Why wasn't she going for Culpepper, for instance?
Yeah, don't know. Good.
I'm not sure why Sierra or why she was going for the strongest female was such a big deal. Unless, I don't know, maybe she thinks down the track that she's better off having more male players to try and manipulate, and she doesn't want to have too many female players around. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because Sierra. Yeah, I don't know. Sierra and Culpepper both started out on the original Nuku tribe, and Sandra was on the original Mana. So it's not like she's got an alliance with one of them over the other. They're both on other tribes. She didn't start playing with either of them. I don't know. Interesting thought.
And then while all this is going on, Ty starts looking for an idol.
Yes, as he did. And
he has found quite a few idols over the years, hasn't he?
What he actually found initially, he initially found a clue. He didn't find the idol first.
That's right.
But it looked to me like that clue sent him to a location that must have been very close to camp.
Must have been.
Because it was referenced to where the flag was put into the beach.
And he's digging away, throwing up sand everywhere.
How did they not see him doing that? I don't understand that. It must have been really close to camp what they did there. But he managed to find it without anyone else spotting him. So I don't know how he did that.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, and then...
Straight away,
let's tell everyone I've got the idol. Now, what do you think about this? I'm not a huge fan of people telling others that they have the idol. I think there's
No,
a
I
case
think
for keeping that pretty quiet to yourself until there's a real moment of. With the benefit of hindsight, it was probably the right thing to do in this
It was,
case.
yeah.
In this case, but I don't know.
I don't think that Ty is the sort of person that likes to hold these secrets because I think
don't think he can.
It just weighs too heavily on him.
I don't
and
think he
so
can.
he wants to just absolve himself of all of his sins
or it's
straight
in his
away.
head. He has to say it.
Yeah, I know. He's a very open and frank sort of
Yeah.
a character. And,
So my initial reaction to that was, oh, what are you doing? Because
no, it wasn't. It was actually a head slap, I think.
well, true,
Yeah.
that is what I did. But yes, I slapped my head and went, what is he doing? Interesting. But look, as it turned out, as we'll talk about in a minute, it worked out really well. But that's just Ty. That's how he plays.
That's right. That's right. When we finally get to tribal council.
Yep. There was a real sense of something was going to happen here, wasn't there? Right from the start. Did you feel that?
Well, I've certainly so many people filing into that tribal council area because there was 11 people. It was quite a big group.
And of course, we had the preview from last week with Jeff looking absolutely shocked about something. So we knew something was coming. We didn't know what it was, but we knew something was probably coming. And sure enough, it did.
No, and so Malcolm's saying he gets asked by Jeff, how's he approached this tribal council? And Malcolm says, "Oh, with this tribal, you have to run through every possible scenario," and you do really. And it was something they wouldn't have even been thinking about this sort of possibility.
Yeah. It must have been a nightmare trying to strategize this one. There are just so many people. You don't know who's got an idol. You've got the original alliances in this game to think about, but you've also got to think about alliances from previous seasons. I mean, we know, for example, Ty and Debbie have played together. They're on different tribes at the moment, but they've played together. So, how do you process all of that? Honestly, so, just amazing. And so there was various backwards and forwards, and then all of a sudden, it just exploded, and people are having conversations all over the place. Across tribes, within tribes, one-on-ones, group chats,
and that answers your question really, because that's how they all approached that in the end. Was they all just stood up and just started huddling and talking to each other about.
Well, they hadn't had the opportunity all afternoon to do that. The first chance they had to do it as a tribal council, and they took it and did it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't sure whether at some point Jeff was going to say, "No, hang on, you can't actually have all these discussions now. This is tribal council," because they've had cases before where some tribal has been sprung on people, or something has been turned around. And they haven't had the chance to scramble or strategize at all, because they're in the tribal council environment. So I kind of thought it was like it was a bit of a thing. You can't really have these sort of discussions.
Look, we've never seen anything like this before. We've certainly seen various bits of backwards and forwards in lots of tribal councils over the years, but I can't remember a situation like this where everyone's jumped up and there's just this open discussion going on. Jeff did say later on, I was just going to let you guys keep going because this is great. So maybe there is no rule about it. It's just there's been this respect for it. I don't know, respect for it over a period of time that you just don't do all the strategizing there. You go there with everything sorted, knowing what you're going to do.
I thought that maybe Jeff just let it go on because it was making good TV. Yeah. So
he would have known that, wouldn't he? He would have been sitting there rubbing his hands together, going, "This is fantastic."
Well, Sandra, she was just so vitriolic, wasn't she?
I'm not going home, she said. She was very confident.
Oh yeah, but. Not just confident, but she's just really, really in your face, sort of a character. She's a very polarizing figure, I think.
I love what Aubrey said. Aubrey said she felt like she'd showed up at the wrong wedding.
Yeah. That's a good one.
She just looked. Her mind was blown. We had unbelievable. So, what do you think happened there? What's your take on what happened there?
Well, my take on what happened was that. It was obvious that JT told Culpepper that they were going to all vote for Sierra, so he gave them the heads up on that.
Yeah.
Now, then a bit later on, you see JT and Culpepper talking again, and JT says to vote for Sandra.
Yeah.
Which we know from earlier when JT was talking to Malcolm, that's what they wanted to do. They wanted Sandra out, and they thought Culpepper would be on board for that sort of thing. And they had to flip from their own tribe, or JT had to flip to get that to happen.
Yep.
So I think that's what JT wanted. Now, should we go through the votes, how the votes turned out then? Because, well, hang on. First we get to No, hang on. They all vote, don't they? And then
Well, not before Haley said, and I've never heard this happen before,
Yeah.
I thought, I actually don't consent. And Jeff went, okay, keep talking or whatever. And there was a bit of chat, and then she got up and I guess it's time to vote. It's you, Haley.
that's
So
right.
we went, I've never seen that happen before.
No.
Yeah, so they've all voted. Jeff does his normal spiel about if anyone has the hidden immunity idol. We know that Ty has it.
Yep.
Nice little bit of editing to make it look like Willie won't he, but he did. So he plays it, gives it to Sierra.
Which was your next head slap for the night?
Yeah, because
Yes.
my reaction to that was I thought, oh my gosh, it's going to be him who'll get voted out, having just given his idol away. That was
Oh, I see. Right.
that's what I thought was going to
That's
happen.
what you were worried
I was
about.
I was completely
Yeah.
wrong because at this point I had no idea. As I think anyone watching would have had no idea what was going to go down. So I thought by giving that away, he just created this unbelievable moment of Survivor history where he had an idol, had the chance to play it for himself, gave it to someone else, and got voted out. Not what happened, but gave it to Sierra. Obviously, that was a bit of information his tribe had that the other guys didn't have, that a little bit of strategy that they could play.
Mm-hmm.
And then lo and behold, out came 6 votes for Sierra, which they knew was going to happen because JT had told Culpepper that.
Yes, that's right.
And JT's a fairly honest kind of guy, so I think if JT tells you that, you can be pretty sure that's what's going to happen. And I think at some point they'd said, original plan. Well, Sandra certainly did.
And so did Culpepper too. That's
right. Okay.
Yeah.
So they had a reasonable idea. So so they did that. So anyway, the entire tribe voted for Sierra. The other tribe, the entire other tribe voted for her, 6 votes. And then it was just then a case of whoever came out, and it was Malcolm.
It was Malcolm. And then JT looked very upset because I don't think that he wanted that to happen.
No, that's a bad.
That wasn't
outcome.
his plan.
No, that's a bad outcome for JT.
Yeah.
In terms of he loses what looked like was starting to form a bit of an alliance.
That's
but
right.
B, because his own tribe is now going to look on him as some sort of traitor for having played a role in his downfall.
He's basically flipped for no advantage.
For no advantage.
No
advantage. And they've lost a member. And a strong one at that.
Mm. I mean, I can see why JT would want to try a risky move like this because he wants to get Sandra out, who is a dangerous player. And it's just one of those things where if you could pull off something like that, it is a big move that then down the track you can point to that and say, that was all me, that move. And so if he does make it to the final 3, that's a good feather in his cap. So
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. But poor old Malcolm, I mean, he was genuinely dead. I mean, as he got voted out, he said, I'm going to vomit. And he was genuinely upset during his confessional, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like really, really, really upset.
Yeah, because he's gone from a position where he was in the majority tribe of 6 people, where in theory,
you should have been invincible in theory.
You should be safe, but we've seen time and time again it doesn't always pan out that way.
It's got to be one of the great blindsides in Survivor history, that one, doesn't it?
It is really.
It
is a blindside, isn't it? Except, no, I don't think that
it wasn't necessarily a planned blindside,
no.
but it was a blindside nonetheless because he did not see that coming.
No, that's right.
I don't think I think everyone sitting there would have been a bit nervous after what went down, but I think he would have felt he was pretty safe.
And then as Jeff is reading the vote, Sierra leans over and gives Malcolm a kiss.
Yeah, that was. Do you think that was genuine, or do you think that was actually a bit of rubbing your nose in it?
Oh, I think it was the latter.
I didn't like that. That's certainly how I sort of felt about it.
No, well, I'm sorry to say that Malcolm is gone. Was Malcolm on your fantasy league tribe?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
He
was. Yeah, thanks, Stu.
Well, at least you would have got some really good points for this episode. Just no more going forward for Malcolm. That's all.
Yeah. Look, my views on Malcolm. Malcolm's one of the greatest players ever to play the game, in my opinion. I think he's awesome. I'm really sorry to see Malcolm go.
Yeah, and I love Malcolm with a silent L and a silent B.
Yes.
That's always the best spelling of Malcolm, isn't it?
Malcolm.
Well, I just have a few thoughts actually from Eliana, who recorded something for me a bit earlier on her thoughts about the tribal council.
All right.
Okay. The tribal tonight was really insane. I think that JT obviously gave a little heads up to the other tribe, even though everyone else, including JT on that tribe, are saying that he didn't. Because how would Tyno to play the idol for Sierra? Like, all the votes were cast for Sierra, and they got it complete smack on right. And then Malcolm came out. Like, that was a big surprise because everyone did not see that coming. Well, on Malcolm's tribe because he went out. Malcolm obviously thought, oh, it's never going to happen to me. Never, ever, ever. And then it did. So I thought that was pretty funny. But it was also sad to see a good player go so early. As he said before, he feels like he's going out too early, like premature. But yeah, I guess it's his time to go. Anyway, I thought it was a very different way to do tribal, but it was also good like to shake things up a bit. So something to talk about more. It's like it just like really wakes up all the players. Like they were just warming up now, but now it's the proper game. Now they're really getting into it, and they have to like play properly and actually think about what they're doing now. They have to look at the short-term action, like for what they're doing, and the long-term as well, those that it can affect their game. But anyway, I think that they should have more things like that on Survivor because it is just more interesting for viewers to watch.
Well, that was pretty insightful from a youngster, wasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, she basically just confirmed everything we've just said.
It certainly was. Yep, that's right. That's right.
Well done, Eliana.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get some more of those little thoughts as we go along through the season. Just
it's good to get the perspective of the youngsters. It's great.
Exactly. Well, that is the end of that episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
look, I need a good lie down after that. I think I'll watch it again to work out exactly what happened.
Well, and then even especially on the next time on Survivor for next week, we have several scenes of Debbie just going ballistic, basically.
Awesome. That's going to be great fun.
Oh, it is. But who knows? Does that mean that she's the next person to go? Because if they're going to give her a bit more screen time, is that in preparation for her about to make her
That
exit?
is the Survivor algorithm sometimes, isn't it? Yeah,
it could be.
I don't know, but look, it's also just apart from any conspiracy theories we might have about how much airtime you get just before you go. I mean, you don't want to be the person going cray-cray around the camp, do you?
No. But she just can't help it. So
awesome, good fun.
Well, thanks again, Craig, and we'll look forward to next week's episode.
Awesome, I'm going to go and have a nice lie down.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Bye.